Hey man, so I've been putting a lot of miles on this, and the brakes are kind of feeling a little bit spongy. Is there a way we can make them feel more positive?
Well, there's a few things that can contribute to your brakes being a little bit spongy. First of all, have you ensured that the initial setup of your Velagi is correct? On Velagi's website, they have multiple videos and a full tutorial on how to properly make sure your brakes are set up. But if you haven't checked it out, you want to make sure that these pieces of housing where they exit the fork and enter the caliper are long enough. They should be about 107 millimeters. Also on the rear, you want to make sure that this one is long enough. This one should be about 140 millimeters. If you haven't done that to your bike yet, make sure to check out their blog and get the full step-by-step on how to properly dial those in. One of the most common causes of a spongy brake is typically that the inboard pad is too far away from the rotor, so that when you go to squeeze the brakes, it causes that rotor to have to flex a long way till it contacts the inboard pad. The more that rotor flexes, the spongier the brake will feel. To fix that, make sure that the inboard pad is as close to the rotor as possible without rubbing. Then, when you go to brake, the rotor has less distance to move, therefore the brake will feel more positive. Next off, you want to make sure that the cable arms are actually up off the lower stop of the brake. If you undo this bolt here with your 5mm Allen wrench, it should spring down slightly. If not, raise it up just a bit off that lower stop and then tighten it down. Ideally, it should be just off this lower stop so that when it starts its travel, you're not having to wind up the spring. Instead, you get a nice, quick, positive feel. With it adjusted properly, as soon as you undo the 5mm cable clamp here, the lever should spring back slightly. Like so. It doesn't take much, just a little bit. Make sure that you pull on the cable to make sure it's not binding up, and then tighten it down. This guarantees that you have a really positive feel to your brake. Lastly, you want to make sure that the cables are running smoothly throughout the bike and they're clean and free of obstructions. We've also noticed that sometimes this rear brake cable that goes all the way through the frame and exits out towards the rear brake, if exposed to water and sits a long period of time, it can cause a little bit of corrosion inside the housing that can cause the brake to bind up slightly. And a quick and easy remedy for that is to use a Teflon coated brake cable such as the Jaguar Ripcord, SRAM, or anything else of the matter. If you follow all these steps, you'll have a very snappy, positive brake.
Ah, awesome, right on. It's that simple, huh?
There you go.
Thanks.